And this morning was a little crazy. So what I do is every morning I get up and I take my daughters to school. I take Mia to one school and then I take Tita Martha to the other school. And I was taking Mia to school this morning. I always get little Martha off. She's 3 years old. And so when I take Mia to school, we're leaving, and all of a sudden Martha just starts screaming. Tita starts screaming, crying, and I'm thinking to myself like, what the heck happened? You know what I mean? Did she hurt her leg? What happened? So I'm holding her, I'm like, what's the matter? Is your hand, is everything okay? And she's screaming, crying, and like finally I'm right there by the car, like, calm down, what's going on? My face is getting red, people are looking at me like, damn, what's wrong with that parent, you know? And I'm looking, and then all of a sudden she tells me, I want to go with my sister. And I'm like, hell no. So what I do is like, oh heck no, there goes the compassion. I put her in her seat, we're gone, right? So as we're driving, right, I'm like, calm down, I gotta drop you off at school, I wanna go, my sister, she's screaming, right? I kid you not, I was getting so frustrated, my ears, like I'm trying to talk to her. Finally I turn on the radio, trying to tune her out, right? I kid you not, she gets louder, so that ain't gonna work. So anyway, what happens is I lower it. Finally, I'm like thinking, what am I going to tell the teacher? She hasn't stopped, you know? So finally, right when we pull up to the school, not a peep. Not a peep. And I look at her and said, are you all right? Is everything okay? Daddy, we got a party today. And that was it. And my thought to me, myself, was, damn, what have I done, you know, as a parent? But my thought of the day today is sometimes like as us, you know, that's my daughter, but in reality, there was something I had read a long time ago, and it says, I have lived and I have died, I have smiled and I have cried, yet I still live again. And I think about my life, and I think there's been times in my life where I didn't think I would ever bounce back. There were times in my life where I felt like I dug a hole that I wasn't going to be able to climb out. In my mind, I used to think that my destination was to suffer. Never once did I think a lot of those were based on my own choices, but some of them weren't. What I realize now, and it's been through Homeboy Industries, is like this place is created in a place for healing. And I think every day it always starts right here in the morning. Every single morning is what we do here. And I was telling him I was tripping out because when I came through the door, like everything inside of me, like I wanted something different, but I didn't know what different looked like. I wanted a better life, but I didn't know what a better life looked like. I wanted to feel better, but I didn't know what feeling better meant because I grew up in the system. And then I walked through the door and everything in my life started to change. And I always ask myself, what is it that changed my life here? And it's the way we treat each other. In the world, we look at each other and you would look at me and say, oh, that's a violent felon. That's a parolee. That's a gang member. That's a parolee, whatever it is. They're always looking at something negative. But at Homeboy Industries is different is because they look at your heart. They don't look at your actions, they don't look at your past, they look at your heart. And they see you for your heart, kind of like a soulmate. You ever been with somebody and you're with this woman and your homies are telling you, what do you see in her? Or as a guy, you always get this, or you're a girl and you're with some guy and all of a sudden you're like, what are you with that fool for? What's he gonna do for you, right? And as they see something in him that nobody else can see. And I feel like that's what's here at Homeboy Industries, is that Homeboy sees something in us that nobody else can see. They see our hearts. And what happens in time is we begin to see our own hearts. And after we see our own hearts, we start to see the hearts of others. And we realize that we're not gang members. We realize that we're not different. We realize that we're the same. And when we start to do that, everything in our life starts to change. We start following our heart, and we start leading with love, and miracles start to happen. I tell you that to say because about 2 weeks ago, we're going for this pitch. You know, it's $1 million pitch. We're trying to get funding for Homeboy. And I'm sitting there, and is a judge, and his name is Judge Espinoza. And as I'm sitting there and I'm talking, and I find out his name is Judge Espinoza, and I ask him, Judge Espinoza, is your name Judge Peter Espinoza? And he says, yeah. And I look at him, and with ultimate, within myself, with gratitude, and I tell him, Judge Peter Espinoza, I believe you let out my dad. And he looks at me and he says, what's your dad's name? And I tell him, Richard. And he smiles and I start telling him the story. And he says, yeah, I did. I did let him out. He said it was controversy because he was originally on death row. But when the death penalty was ruled unconstitutional, he ended up with life in prison. So when he was dying, they didn't really want to release him because they seen him as somebody on death row. They didn't see him as a man who had changed his life. But Judge Espinoza seen him as the man he is today, kind of like we see each other. And he had released him. Anyway, my dad had got released at 10 in the morning, and he died on the couch with my mom at 10 o'clock that night. But he died with dignity. The reason I'm telling you this is as I'm talking to the guy and talking to the judge, and he tells me, by the way, and he remembers word for word everything back then. That was like 12 years ago. He says, by the way, how's your brother doing? And I tell him, my brother, he got out, he's good. And he tells me, no, not that brother. Your brother, he had life in prison. I believe he was your dad's Sally. And I kid you not, my heart dropped in my stomach. And I tell him, oh, Judge Espinoza, that's me. I was the one who had life in prison. I was Sally's with my dad. And we just hugged. I say that to say everything starts, whether it's meeting with the governor and sitting in Sacramento and talking to him, or whether it's meeting the judge who had mercy on my family, it all starts with walking through that door. This place has created a place for all of us to heal, for all of us to connect with one another. But you have to be willing. In our life, we are always willing to go all in for an identity, a respect, a neighborhood, whether it was to give up our life or give our freedom. What I ask of you today is to go all in for yourself. And your children and your family will benefit from it. That experience this morning, my daughter screaming her freaking head off, at the end of the day, it was priceless. Because there was a time in my life when I was in prison, all I ever did is imagine stuff like that. And with Homeboy Industries, my imaginations come true. So my thought of the day today is continue to follow your heart and lead with love. Cool?